Hello and welcome back to The Pieces. And today it is another solo episode from my humble abode. So this is my flat where I'm living at the minute, but I'm actually going to be moving very soon because that's just what I love to do, move houses. No, actually, I really dislike it, but I'm going to be moving in with one of my friends and I'm really excited about it because kind of lived on my own for the last few years. So it'll be really nice to be with someone and annoy them. I digress because I'm getting into the conversation today that I think has been so prevalent in British media, in conversations, in rhetoric. I think a lot of people have opinions that it doesn't involve them. I mean, a huge thing that I believe that is missing when it comes to these conversations are actual voices of trans people, you know? Like, we hear voices of we hear the concerns that they're saying that this is rooted in women's safety, which I fully support women's safety. I fully want women to get everything that they can in life, you know, all about equality. But my equality and my view involves all women, you know? And I think by excluding trans women, it reverses a lot of feminism. It reverses a lot of views on progression and this whole new ruling, the court ruling, the whittling it down to just biological sex, it's dangerous. It's dangerous in the sense that it lacks nuance, it lacks understanding of complex identities and beings, and it just whittles us down to male and female. And unfortunately, say what you want, sex and gender are two completely different things. So if you're now making the laws that only the bathroom that you can use is the one you were assigned sex, the sex that you were born with at birth, then what is that for intersex people? What is that for an array of different people that don't fit into this heteronormative view of femininity or masculinity? I also think there's a massive fucking loophole here that men are probably like, because this whole conversation started over the weaponization of women's safety. Already said, advocate, love women, yes, bitch, you slay. But by doing that, it has not only created or perpetuated a marginalized, vulnerable group as a threat with no evidence to back it up. The fact that this has gone on for so long just shows the power that money has, or if you've got a machine behind you, you can change people's opinions on anything. Like the pendulum can swing back. There's less than 1% of the population identifies trans. That's even not just trans women, that's trans men included. Trans men are people that also get excluded from this conversation entirely. And the irony is that now men are going to be going into the women's bathrooms because if you are a trans male, you may have identified as female at birth, the idea of the woman, so you would have to use that toilet. So therefore, I don't know if you've ever seen a trans man, but they're giving mask. They're giving down at the gym, they're giving going for it, they're giving rage, they're giving like they don't give a fuck. And I wouldn't fuck with a trans man. So the fact that they're going to be walking in the toilets now, it's just this weird dystopian ideal. It's this control, which I don't think people get. It's an idea of control. What they're trying to do by doing this, by taking away access to a lot of healthcare, making it more difficult for trans people to exist, to identify, and also not even just in the healthcare terms, because that's insidious in itself, because they know that when there's not access to healthcare, increases in things like depression and mental health and drug, and also, trigger warning, suicide can happen and will happen. And I think we're going to look back at this in many, many years and think, I can't believe this is what happened. And I can't believe cis people treated trans people like this. Where is the humanity? Where is the humanity? Where is the understanding? Where is the compassion of someone else that isn't like you? Just because your existence fits into the binary doesn't mean everybody else's is. And I've said it once, I'll say it again, I'll say it until I'm fucking in the ground. The binary exists to only benefit men. The men at the top as well, like the patriarchal ideal of what it is to be masculine and to be dominant, and that they are the rulers, and everyone else has had to fight for these rights. And we've got to the point where they're like, oh, what can we talk about now? What can we create a moral panic and hysteria against? Migrants are coming, it's been happening too, we've known that. We've known that these people fleeing from wars that we have been profiting from and sending firearms to are fleeing over, and they're now the enemy. And now trans people are also the enemy number one in the UK right now. I don't know if you've ever met a trans person, and shout out to all the trans people that might be listening to this. I have so many trans people in my life. They are beautiful, they are colourful, they are authentic, they are themselves. And they have had to work hard at that. And they have had to fight day and night just to exist. And the fact that it's now rolling backwards in 2025 should scare every single person that is listening to this. Because if it can happen to one marginalised group, it can happen to anybody. Like, it's not... Our rights are so flimsy that they can just easily be taken away. You never know who's going to come into power. You never know how they're going to change the mentality, you know? This exclusion of an already marginalised group, instead of trying to understand, instead of trying to kind of have a conversation that includes and allows us to progress, we're just going backwards. We're just in this place where middle-class white women are using feminism as a weaponization to create this fear-mongering and this moral panic. Billionaires should not be getting involved in politics. Billionaires, I'll say that again. Billionaires should not be getting involved in politics. That's Elon Musk, that is J.K. Rowling. They should not be doing that. The fact that she's investing so much money and she kind of spearheaded this campaign, she sat there smoking a cigar, being like, I love it when a plan comes together. Bitch, what? Like, this is madness. I can't believe that we are in this dystopian world. Like, I don't even know anymore. And there was one time when J.K. Rowling said that she wasn't transphobic, and that if there was something happening to demonize trans people, she would be at the front of the march. She was at the front of the march because she changed the bloody laws. She's created this. She's done it under this guise. And listen, trigger warning again, sexual assault, terrible. For anyone that's been sexually assaulted, I'm deeply sorry. I am sorry that has happened to you. It was never your fault. And don't allow that feeling of guilt and that shame that eats up at you to allow you to think that. But this misguided anger is due to that. And rightly so, sexual assault is fucking horrible. But you're going after the wrong people. Trans women aren't responsible for this. It's men. And what they're doing, what's happened is they're scapegoating because they actually can't go against the real patriarchy. Because if you go against the patriarchy, you'll get wiped out. They're going to take you down. Like, you go against someone that you think is weaker than yourself and that you can attack. And then under the guise that they are men and that they are a threat. It's just not true. There's no statistics that are valid. I wrote an article for the Metro because I didn't know how to get my words out in a way that felt concise, in a way that just allowed me to express what I was feeling, because I didn't know what I was feeling. I was very shocked. I was very, very shocked and kind of confused. I think a lot of people were confused. Like, what does this mean? What does this mean for trans men? What does this mean for this idea? Because I don't know if anyone can remember, but back when this was all starting to kind of, the match was being lit under the witching fire, there was this idea, this narrative that the reason that they don't want trans women in single-sex spaces, and this whole identifying as self-identifying and transitioning, because a man can transition to sexually assault women, go into the toilet, pretend that they're a woman and sexually assault a woman. Now, firstly, there's no evidence, so that doesn't even warrant an actual proper argument. Secondly, it undermines that this person who's doing that is obviously mentally unwell and should actually be sought help and seek help in mental health services, which is massively underfunded. And we need more funding for mental health services and support services and domestic violence services for women who have experienced domestic violence at the hands of their partners or somebody they don't know, an ex-partner, because that is the number one cause of sexual assault and domestic violence to women. It is a man that they already know. A man that they already know. Say that again, because it is insane. So they're perpetuating this idea that a man can just walk into the bathroom, pretend to be a woman, and they're going to sexually assault women. They're already doing it. Not walking into the bathrooms, they're doing it in the parks. They're doing it down the road. It's increasing violence against women, but it's not by trans women. So the fact, why has this become such a widespread thing? It's a smear campaign. It's a moral panic created to oust out a marginalised, vulnerable group in society. Can we see this? Is everybody else able to see this? Because when there's no evidence and it is all based on lies and just someone's opinion that has been able to fund this and create all of this, It's really dark and it's really scary, and we should all be scared. My gender identity is fuck gender. My gender identity is fluid. The binary exists, but I want to exist outside it because it's been a detriment all my life trying to be like this. I was take the piss out of for being like more feminine, but then I like certain. So, I'm just me. And I can go into the male bathroom and sometimes I get looks, sometimes I get men going, oh, you're in the wrong bathroom. And I'm just like, let me piss in peace. Let me piss in peace. I'm about to go into that cubicle and have a piss, and then I'm going to wash my hands, which is something you don't do. Anyway, where was I? I don't even know where I was. But it's just scary that this is got to this point. I'm just scared. I feel like I'm going to keep going. I'm going to keep fighting it. I'm going to keep talking. I'm going to be vocal. I'm going to use the pieces as an opportunity to highlight and champion the community because it's exactly what we need. I think this pendulum was going too far left, that queer people were getting success and queer people were in the media. And, there's only so many queer people that can be in the media. If there's too many, we're indoctrinating children. Indoctrinating them to what? Indoctrinating them to what? I was indoctrinated as a child to go to church. I didn't want to go to church. And that's another thing, like this, the religious aspect about like not accepting trans people or queer people in general. It's just wild to me because these people exist. We exist. We are in front of you. Hello. But this imaginary person isn't who you follow all their rules. So why can you not believe that we exist or trans people exist? It's mind-blowing to me. I don't even think I'm going to have to go through my notes because I have just gone on a passionate talk. But I got to write an article for the Metro and I've got it here, so I'm just going to read it. Bimini, I'm not going to read the whole article, don't worry. Unless I should I? No. Bimini, there's a real threat to women's safety and it's not trans people. I started by saying at a time of global unrest, economic disparity and deepening inequality, there's a cruel irony in who society chooses to target. But this week, the rule narrows the definition of women to biological sex. Trans people have once again been cast as a scapegoat in a conversation that should be about safety, rights and liberation for all. So that's another point here is we are not all liberated until we are all liberated. Do you get what I mean? Like, it's a shame to see feminism being weaponized because feminism has done so much for women over the years. And there's just so many different strains of feminism, radical, liberal, Marxist, loads of different types of feminism. But this gender critical feminist who doesn't accept trans people because they hate men are really not acknowledging that misogyny comes in all different ways. And whether misogyny is this umbrella term or misogyny is just directly against women, I believe truly that misogyny and queerphobia and femphobia and homophobia and transphobia and anything that is basically more overtly feminine or expressive of emotion or is seen as weaker. So misogyny, I think, is an umbrella term for so many different phobias, which I'll use loosely because you're not scared, you're just a dick, against people that aren't like other people, or like that aren't like the man. And fuck that, fuck the patriarchy. I think we all just need to have some more compassion. We need to have understanding. Actually, meet a trans person. Like, have you ever met a trans person? Do you know a trans person? Anyone that's listening as well, like, do you know a trans person? What do they value to your life? What do they bring to your life? Because the ones that I know bring nothing but joy, nothing but happiness. And I don't want to be here continuing to see it go backwards because it goes for the trans people. Who's next? That's what you've got to ask yourself. Well, migrants are next. We know that. The British media, so much explaining to do. Got so much blood on their hands as well. I just think like, I just want to bake a cake up for the rainbows and smiles, and we all eat it. But yeah. And Keir Starmer, you need to grow a backbone. So funny though, in this Metro article, I didn't get the pick. I wrote the article, because I wanted to express how I felt. And I used to study journalism, so it actually really helped. And I turned it into an article, so I put a thing on my Instagram. And then they picked all of these photos of me, which they've obviously got me from Getty. Gets me good. And some of them are just like, come on. Love you, Metro. So thank you so much for this opportunity. But there's a picture of me with a fan in between my legs performing on stage. And obviously that's going to ruffle up a few feathers. But the article was trending #1 in opinions all weekend. So what can you do, eh? What can you do? If you look at these titles, yeah. So trans women should be barred from women's public toilets. Right. So where are they pissing, girl? Where are they going to go piss? This is all just ridiculous. This is all just ridiculous. Why are we not looking at support services for domestic violence? Why are we not funding these places? Why are we not funding mental health services? Why are we not trying to help women that are experiencing extreme poverty and are stuck in situations? Why are we not going against the real issue, which is male violence, not trans women, male violence on women? I will not stop until we keep going. We are going to keep going. Thank you for my little rant this morning. It's not even 12 o'clock yet, and I need to have a nap. Next episode of The Pieces is going to be back with some guests. I've used this opportunity to do something different with The Pieces, so I'm excited for this new episode to air. I've got 3 guests joining me. 3 guests joining me. It's going to be uplifting, I hope. I wanted the opportunity to uplift the community. Talk to people that have really been affected by this, you know? Not these middle-class white Waitrose, cheap-ass Prosecco-popping women stood outside courts. Who this doesn't affect. Who it doesn't affect? I'm sorry. Podcast is going to be out very soon. Like, subscribe, save, send to all your friends. Let's make the pod pieces massive and let's fuck transphobia.